a tax resident in the UK?
To begin with, let's think about the meaning of the term residence. Residence is a criterion that a country or a jurisdiction uses to ensure that a person pays taxes which are due under its law. Normally, a person is resident after such person spends a particular amount of days in the territory, or if such person has particular connections with such territory. In the UK, a person is resident if he or she spends over a certain number of days. And if the person becomes resident, then normally they have to pay taxes on all income that they receive in the UK, and normally also on the income that they receive from outside the UK. Of course, there are exceptions, and we will consider this in a few minutes. Most people think that you can only become a resident in the UK if you spend over 183 days in its territory. This is partly true. Of course, if someone spends 6 months in the UK, then they will definitely be resident. However, of course, there are occasions when a person can spend as little as 45 days or even 15 days in the UK, and they will still be found resident.
How would that happen?
There are what we call factors which we have to consider in deciding on a person's residence. Such factors include whether the person has a home in the UK, whether they have a family resident with them in the UK, if they work in the UK, and also the length of time that they may have spent in the UK in the previous tax years. The more such factors the person has during the tax year, the more difficult it is for them not to become resident. In other words, if a person has a home in the UK, if they have a wife or a minor child living with them there, if they spent over 3 months in the past tax year in the UK, and also if they're doing some work here and there, they can spend as little as 45 days here and they will be found resident. One important factor which I need to mention is that when counting days, we are using the tax year, not the calendar year. In the UK, the tax year lasts between 6th of April of one calendar year and the 5th of April of the following year. Therefore, the counting should be done between those dates.